lineage to royalty, but mostly we're poor at making art. My name's Benj.
And my name is Isaac. And this week, dear peasants and royals alike, we are going to be discussing the lineage of a king.
I just want to say I'm glad that the whole royal family of England watches.
I'm also amazed at how many royal families watch. They don't subscribe or anything because royals don't do that.
Right.
They don't give their allegiance to just anybody.
Yeah, but they watch.
They can't resist either. No, we are, as rumor has it, the favorite YouTube channel of King Charles himself. Dear old Lizzie used to be a avid watcher. In fact, from what I hear, she was watching us even as she slipped into
that's the rumor.
into the second life of a queen. as she died, I mean. I was trying not to make it be like the third, like, slipped into the like lowest level of hell, but that's pretty much where that was going. Anyway, welcome to you, princes and princesses alike.
Which level of hell do they just make them watch our videos?
All of them, I think.
Just on repeat.
Yeah, it just
on all the screens.
There's some videos that are worse than others, and that's really the difference. There's saggy butt horse video plays nonstop at the
ninth level.
Yeah, exactly right. Because that's how the afterlife definitely works. It's not.
Dante knew exactly what he was talking about.
That's who you can be. You can be Dante for Halloween. We were trying to figure out our Halloween costumes this year, and
yeah, but like you were saying, you were going to be a real theologian, and then you're giving me all these like fake people.
You could be Friar Tuck. Yeah, I don't see the problem. Friar Tuck was probably real, but we're getting off topic. We can discuss our costume plans later. Today, though, we are going to draw the lineage of a king. Whatever that might mean to you and to me and to Benj. Because the you wasn't you, it was the fans in that statement. All right, so the lineage...
I'm a third person.
See, Benj and I, as he stated, are poor at tracking our lineage to a king. Not that we're not both definitely related to royalty.
Yeah, we know
in our hearts.
Both are.
It's quite obvious, really. Because no king or queen or anybody has ever been good at art. That's just a fact. That's why they have like the royal painter and the off with their head when they paint something bad. We wouldn't have made it in the Renaissance.
Yeah,
because people weren't ready for advanced
I'm German,
technique.
Right? And so we know that German royalty, such as Hitler, was notoriously bad at art.
Whoa. What do you mean? What is that?
Notoriously bad at art.
He wasn't royalty.
He practically took
over.
over.
But that's not. Oh gosh, you're ruining our channel. This video is going to be demonetized and pulled and scorned and canceled. You can't mention the H man.
The H man.
Yeah, you just can't do it.
You can when you talk about his art career.
No, don't compare our art career to his either. Don't talk about anything from now on. Just nothing. Stay over there. Crawl into the corner next to Micah. Micah's sitting in the corner again today, just warming it with his behind. Keeping it there for Josh. Josh, you'll be happy to know we're keeping the print the butt print printed. You know how.
I think you should be the one to stop talking. He gets in the corner.
Oh, fine. I'll stay over here. You can stay over here.
Let's both get in the corner.
Let's do some art that'll make us deserve a far worse corner. Oh, I almost forgot my drawing glove.
Go to the other corner.
Yeah, no one likes that corner. That corner's gross. You don't want to know what happens in that corner. It's cold and there's like spider webs always. Like we clear out the cobwebs and they just more materialize.
Yep.
It's
They're
like
never
the haunted.
they're never spider webs. They're always cobwebs.
It's like the haunted corner of the studio. You don't. That's not where we make Josh and Micah sit. In fact, no one that we like has to sit in that corner.
Mm-hmm.
And let's hope no one ever does. All right. The lineage of a king. Of a king.
Mm-hmm.
A king.
Yep, not the king. Just a king.
Yeah, like any old king.
Yeah, any king you want.
Because that's how it works. Little known fact, portraits hanging in castles don't have straight frames. Because that's what these are. Portraits hanging in a castle.
Okay.
Notoriously, they use driftwood
Mm-hmm.
and wood from the curvy trees.
Right.
Some people call them womanly trees. Because they're, shaped like women. It's best not to.
Didn't we agree that you would stop talking?
Our channel would be like nothing without us talking. We'd just be art. And we're poor at that. We're also not doing illicit.
We're not doing
very good at talking today either. Maybe we should just take a 10-second break. You ready? We're just not going to talk for 10 seconds. See, that's so awkward. I can't even do it. No, 2 seconds in.
Well, you should keep doing art though, because
Oh, I see.
it's been like 7 minutes and you have 3 squares.
Has it really been? My gosh. So sorry you've been watching this whole time.
What happened to that guy's shoulder?
That's the least of his concern. Let's just be clear here.
Is it the least of his concerns?
Let's see. Where's this crown gonna go? It's best to see. Nobody really wants to be a king. Does anybody ever grow up and be like, I want to be king when I grow up?
And maybe before they like know what it means. Yeah, some little kid might say
Maybe that's
such a
like an
thing.
American thing. Like we don't want to grow up and be king
Mm-hmm.
because we've read our American history
Yep.
and it's just no one. See, like people say they want to be president too.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of weirdo wants to grow up
Yeah,
and
I
be
don't
president?
think anybody wants to be president.
Like we were
I feel
looking
like it's the worst possible job.
at baby clothes the other day for our baby,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like a baby clothes that says like future president. I was like, who would
Mhm.
ever condemn their child to that?
Yeah, that is
know?
pretty bad. I mean, first of all, it's the most dangerous job.
Yeah, like the
statistically.
The highest percentage of death.
Yeah, because like job related death, which means assassination when it comes to presidents.
Yeah, like it's the highest. Yeah, you have the highest chance of being assassinated of any job.
Mm-hmm. And then plus it's just like super stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how good you are, the majority of the population hates you.
It's true. It's rough.
Like Abraham Lincoln had like 13% rating
See,
of how many people liked him.
presidents and artists have a lot in common. You know what I mean?
Where like people like them more after they're dead.
After they're dead, right?
Yeah.
They're hated, and people like them more after they're dead. Like that's just a rule of being king,
Yeah.
and a rule of being any kind of artist, really.
So like all of these people, it's not that they were simply beheaded, because there's like ripples Like, were their heads like bitten off?
It's best to
And
not.
they all broke their shoulder?
This one was real, bro.
Like the middle one, his shoulder isn't quite as bad, but like his left shoulder is still quite a bit sagging compared to his right shoulder.
Yeah, these guys had it rough. Not all kings are necessarily beheaded, but let's be honest, most. Like historically, how many kings do you think were beheaded? All of them?
No.
Oh gosh, that's part of the frame.
I feel like very few.
Oh, now I just have to make it look like it was a choice. Very few, you think?
Yeah.
Name one king that wasn't beheaded.
The king, like, has there been a king of England that's been beheaded? I'm pretty sure every king.
Google it for me. I'm sorry in advance for whatever comes up here.
Okay. I'll just search how many kings of England have been beheaded.
Yeah, it's going to be a long list. Going to be a very long list. Like, think about it. Most kings existed in the days of yore, before there was, civilization and whatnot. Like, kings are an old, outdated kind of thing, you know? This guy's face is going to be an interesting shape. There we
I haven't found the beheaded yet, but Charles I remains the only English monarch to have been tried and executed for treason.
Huh.
So
What'd they do to him?
He's the only one that was executed.
Probably beheaded him. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, if we had a king, I would be for beheading them. You know? Like
Oh, they're retiring age time to...
Yeah. Like, if you were a king, you'd want to go out in like a relatively interesting way. Wouldn't you? How many kings, like boiled in oil or something cool? I don't want like any of these lame executions, like a firing squad or... If we had kings today in America, I would insist that at least every third king we like beheaded at the end.
Okay.
Are you with me?
I don't think I necessarily am.
Why not? Why not? That would be the whole,
They don't... No website is saying how he was executed.
See, because it's too gruesome.
Here's something that says royal beheadings.
Yeah, see? There's like a whole Wikipedia page, like I said.
Well, not Wikipedia.
This guy's wearing a...
unofficialroyalty.com.
Unofficial royalty? What does that mean?
I don't know, but... So there was a Prince of Wales that was beheaded.
He was harpooned during a whale hunt.
No, he was beheaded. That's what this whole thing's about.
With a harpoon. What do they...
Thomas the second Earl of Lancaster.
That can't be a real place.
Edmund of Woodstock, first Earl of Kent.
Are these real people? Or are these fake ones, like you said?
They're unofficial.
Unofficial monarchs? Is that even
Edward
possible?
Plantagenet, 17th Earl of Warwick.
Now I just know you're messing with me.
Edmund de la Pole, 3rd Duke of Suffolk.
Okay, countries... These are probably all British, right?
Anne Boleyn, Queen of England.
Countries that have... Like, people from countries
she was beheaded. You got a queen.
Oh, how about that? See? Like, every...
Margaret Pole, 8th Countess of Salisbury.
Is this what kings wear?
Oh, I would never like. That's like the jester was just like became king because he's the last one around.
It might be, but I think maybe it needs like a there.
I don't know if that's better.
Kind of looks like somebody dressed him up like a cake. But again, that's how a lot of royalty looks. They look like cakes.
Like Lady Jane Grey, Queen of England. I think okay, so Charles I, King of England, King of Scots, was beheaded.
See?
So you got one King of England. Most of these aren't even like real they're like dukes and stuff. Oh wait. Louis the 16th, King of France, he was beheaded. What is that, a hand?
It was meant to be. I'd like to think, if we're going through the lineage of this king, you can clearly see that the last king lost an arm too.
Mm-hmm,
so I bet they
right.
used that king's arm to place the new crown on the new king's head. Like that arm belongs to this king.
That's the Prince Faisal bin Mused bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia.
I'm sorry that you had to try to say that.
He was beheaded. So on this list, and he was just a prince, but I mean, in that area, there was like there's a lot of a prince would have potentially been in charge of.
I'm just saying it's
area.
not that uncommon.
I'm just saying there's like 3
I'm saying, like it's
in all of history.
I mean, in that one website.
On that website, yeah.
They don't like to advertise that their kings are all beheaded, or else the next king is going to be scared like this guy. Imagine if you walked into your palace on coronation day,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what you saw.
Yeah, especially if you're just like the jester. And it's like, you're the next king.
He's not the jester.
We ran out of kings.
Maybe I'd like to think he's the son of the last king, but he he had ambitions to like grow up to be a jester.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, I don't want to be king, Dad. I want to be a jester.
And then his dad got beheaded.
And his dad like lost his arm and his head.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, nope, you're king. And he's like, no, look at my grandpa and great grandfather. And then he's like, at least I don't have out of control chest hair like my grandfather did. That was like his great grandfather, this guy over here. This portrait was like, they were like they're like painting the portrait as he was killed. That's why there's like fresh spurts of there, you know, because the artist just like looks up and paints what he sees and looks down and looks up and he's like, wait a second, there was a head there last time I looked up. And then of course they beheaded the painter.
Yeah.
So
the painter's beheaded every time also.
I mean, it seems like
the
the right thing to do.
new painter. The painter of this guy's dad was real bad at painting.
Yeah. And I guess they just like hang the crown next to this is like a weird kingdom, but I'm totally for this. Like we should totally do portraits of like how every president died and hang them in the White House to be like, next president, this is what you have to look forward to.
Like you walk into Oval Office and it's just the portraits of the deaths of all the
presidents, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like in the Oval Office. Like they're like,
and there's
painting.
like one of you, the current president.
Yeah, like next, like not dead, but you know that as soon as you die, they're gonna like paint over it.
It's like one of those things when you go to, like the haunted mansion like when you look at one angle, it like shows a possible death.
Yeah. This is the lineage of a king in death. Because this is what you need to know you're getting yourself into when you run for king.
You run for king.
You know, like,
yeah,
this guy was wise for wanting to be a jester. It's kind of unfortunate that he didn't even change. Like they coronated him so quick.
I mean, we've already established that the royal family watches
Yeah.
us, if you want us to come like do a portrait for you,
Oh yeah, we'll come do death portraits of everyone.
yeah, everyone in your family
I can't wait to do Queen Elizabeth's dying,
watching
us on YouTube on her computer. You know? Yeah, it's gonna be.
Also, if the president happens to be watching,
Yeah,
we can come to the White House and
or really, King Charles, you're watching. Just phone up the president.
Yeah.
And imagine how cool it would be if we made it, because we've done a lot of things as artists to be proud of.
Right.
Like I won't list them all out right now.
Yeah,
You guys know,
too
but
many.
there's a lot of things. But if we became world renowned for being responsible for the death portraits of both the royal family and the American presidents, we'd be set.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have to work again.
Right.
We still would, of course. We'd never abandon this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We just do it from our security guarded office in the White House.
or our castle atop 4 skyscrapers.
Oh, the dream. Yeah, we've never shared this dream, I don't think. Just know there's a dream that Benj and I share, to have a castle atop 4 skyscrapers, each of which has a separate purpose, but one of which is definitely the Two Poor Artists Hotel.
Right.
The second one also is just the Two Poor Artists Hotel number 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sits next to the first hotel because the first hotel sells out so quick, so they got to fill the second hotel.
I also feel like it would make a good Elite Four for Pokemon
gym.
Yeah, you got the 4 towers for the Elite Four members, and then the champion in the castle of.
We have to do art battles with people atop the roof of each of the skyscrapers. We
need to hire 4 other artists that they get through before us.
We'd have to train them ourselves, though.
The Elite Four
of
art.
And
then we would be the champion.
Once we make it world big, we can start training other artists, our
nose first strategy.
Yeah.
And
we'll start training them. We'll
hand
find
wrangler.
We'll go to some kindergarten class and be like, "You there? You've got what it takes. We've seen your drawing of a horse.
You've already got hand wrangler style down.
Yes, indeed.
We'll teach you the ways."
Because once you get older, you just become too set in your ways. Go to any art school, any art professor, they're going to be like, "Well, if you look here, this is how you're supposed to paint." And everyone's like, "But what about my own style?" And they're like, "No, this is what's good." And everyone's like, "Well, I'll do my own thing." But then they do their own thing, and it just looks like all the artists that already exist, and it makes you want to cry. Where am I going with this? Point is, we need to start young if we're going to train the next generation of artists to be as great as we are.
Right.
Speaking of being as great as we are, I'm done with this drawing, and it's time to see the greatness that's within you. Benj.
If you say so.
I'm just saying that if I was in one of those foreign countries with very little freedom that had kings and queens, and they were like, "Do you want to go down to the Hall of Death portraits?" I'd be like, "Yes, I do." Oh, straight line Benj, as they call him.
It wasn't meant to be a straight line.
I know. That's why they call you straight line Benj.
None of these lines are supposed to be straight.
Just in any of your drawings ever.
Yeah. They're just not.
Yeah, it's an ironic nickname for the man who never draws a straight line.
I never would.
Mm-hmm. It's just a chair that's placed abnormally close to the wall.
This is more than just a normal chair. Does
this chair have
fancy throne?
Oh. Does it have a whoopee cushion built in?
Yeah.
Does it just have a left armrest, or does it just have a right armrest? Or are there 2 armrests, so they just are so perfectly lined up that you can only see them as one?
Well, there's going to be somebody sitting there, so you can't see the other one. That's the secret.
They must be perfectly shaped for this chair.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Does their chair have a crown? Because
it's just decoration. And then it's on.
You know how many cool things you could do if you were a king? No one could question it until they behead you. Seriously. If you were a king, you could be like, "I want a room that I never have to wear my crown, but no matter where I stand, it looks like I'm wearing a crown."
From every
from
angle.
every angle. Like there's like like the feet spots painted on the ground, so he knows where to stop. And then he has like the the court artist come and paint crowns from every angle. You know how cool that'd be? You'd walk into his like throne room and there'd just be crowns like at obscure places on every wall and the ceiling and the floor and stuff, and you'd be like, what the heck? But then no matter where you looked at the king, he would always be wearing one of them. It'd be like either the best prank ever or just the greatest feat of like, see, that's the kind of art that would be a thing today. Like imagine if you could visit like the eccentric King Ludwig's crown room, and it's just, he painted this room so that no matter where he stood, there was always a crown on his head. How cool would that be? No kings were ever that cool. We'd be great kings. Great art kings.
If by great you mean like horrible.
Like we'd be beheaded quickly.
Like, yeah.
But we'd have to get in a few like stellar.
That one guy that was beheaded, right? The Charles I. He was beheaded because he clearly wanted to be king for his own benefit, not the kingdom's.
No, but like, tell me that crown room wouldn't benefit the whole kingdom. Eventually,
I am telling you that
it would make them happy when they visit the king and they're like, I thought he was wearing a crown the whole time. Also, let's just point this out. How expensive is it to make a crown? Really expensive, right? Big diamonds and rubies and gold and
right.
But if you just had an artist come in and paint crowns at every angle, that would actually save the kingdom money and you could lower taxes.
That might be true.
See? That's how you'd have to explain it to people. There'd be like a big, like unfurled parchment on the door outside the crown room explaining what you're about to experience during your audience with the king.
This actually saved you money. Trust us.
Yeah, it'd be like
we don't have all the stuff to prove it, but just trust us.
You'd have it signed by like the royal treasury advisor.
Yes, this saved.
This
money.
might be really weird, and you might not understand it, but you're peasants and trust us.
It saved you money.
Oh, so you're drawing the opposite of my portraits. You're drawing just the head parts. Oh,
that's like
never
a
mind.
must. Like,
oh, it would have been cool if you were like, and here's the head portions that were missing from all of your portraits.
And I'll give him that fluffy thing that.
Yeah, like this sort of like, I don't know. I imagine kings fell asleep often. They're kind of like built-in neck pillows.
Built-in neck pillows, yeah.
Yeah,
it must be what they are.
Like,
and it has like a cape attached, but like the.
Oh, that's what I was missing in my drawings. But as everybody knows, when you behead a king, you take their cape.
Yeah, you take it.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone.
Yeah.
What else would you do?
Yeah, because it's like a sign of like, you don't take the head. That's gross.
Yeah.
But you take the cape. Blood-stained cape.
Yeah. So, see, the thing is, what I was going for, right, is like, this is the first king.
He looks fun.
And I'm trying to make, like, I'm gonna try to get progressively worse, but the problem is, I'm just telling you now, because
progressively it's gonna be,
because like this guy's not good,
no,
right?
But like I'd hang out with him. He looks like he'd be a fun king to hang out with,
So then we'll go like this.
Oh, his nose grew 6 sizes that day.
Yeah, well, this is a different king.
What happened? Why'd you draw your first king looking at us? And this guy's like a derpy, like your normal style. Your people, when they're looking at us straight on, look so much better than not. Like even your drawing last week of your sketch artist drawing, like it was facing us, so it's still nicer looking than most. Oh, he has one of those like mustaches that's attached to his sideburns.
Well, so does this guy.
Oh, gross. No, but like I pictured it's like you only see these in like Civil War portraits, and you're like, what the heck were you thinking? Why'd you let your? Oh, well, okay. If he's got a beard too,
yeah, he has a beard.
It's the guys who just let their sideburns connect to their mustache.
Without
it's just the worst. The
Yeah.
worst thing ever to come out of the Civil War. That style, that fashion. Seriously,
most of
if
the
they
s-
had painted this guy
most
facing...
most of the Civil War was cool.
This one literally just gets worse because he's turned sideways. Like, in general, he doesn't
also
look
has
much
the
worse
cape.
than his predecessor. Yeah.
The cape isn't part of the hair. Trust me.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
then-
obvious.
And then he has a crown as well.
His crown's a little big for its head. You think they like resize crowns, or they just like hope that the next king has the same size
Just
head as their
give him
predecessor?
more head.
That's what you don't see. That's what I want to see in the new reality show about. It's all about the guy whose job is to resize the crowns for the next royalty.
Like the job that happens once every 100 years.
Yeah, well, not how many kings lived 100 years? It could be like during an era where there's like a new king every week. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
that'd be a thing. And it's just like follows him and the shenanigans that happen as he's resizing the crown.
I'll draw.
Because if he gets it wrong, he dies.
I'll draw this
like-
guy facing forward again.
Yeah, because legitimately, I would just believe so far that we're looking at multiple portraits of the same dude. One's just like, don't paint him from the side. His nose is atrocious from the side. Like, oh. See, when you said it was going to get progressively worse, there's some horrible, like, inbreeding that happened. Like, that last king had a kid with, like, his own, like, sister or something. Like, they didn't know, and there's some horrifying thing that's happened. Gosh darn it, what is that? It's so gross. What's the nose? Is that a nose?
Yeah, that's the nose.
Gosh.
This is the nose.
You know how many kings back in the day were like, and then they had a kid with their first cousin who actually turned out to not be their first cousin, but their mom. And you're like, what the heck is happening in the medieval world? And then this thing was made king. Bench, that nose is not a nose. It's like a, what the heck is it? It's like someone strapped a burlap sack to his face. I want to see like a completely serious show. I don't know why I'm pitching all these show ideas today. Like a completely serious show
Mm-hmm.
about a king, but his nose looks like that, and no one ever comments on it during the whole show. Like even the like show producers and stuff are like, we just made him look like any king. Benji,
This guy's.
it's
this-
unnatural
gotta
what
have
we're looking
teeth.
at. Two of them? Like a hippopotamus?
No.
What is his nose? It's like someone erased the nose off his face and it's just not there.
But no, that's his nose. It's like the same, but bigger. This guy's nose.
There's something
And this guy's
so
gonna be
creepy
looking,
about that man.
This guy's gonna be looking the other way.
I can't even imagine it getting worse than that. This is so much better than the one before it already. Except here, his pupils stick out a little.
That's just how it is.
Just keep going, keep going. I can't stop looking at the one in the... You know what it reminds me of? You know those things in the Muppets that like are like the sock puppet things
Mm-hmm.
that are like from outer space,
Right.
like on Sesame Street?
But they don't have noses.
It's the only way I can make sense of these. I'm looking up their names. What are these? Yeah, they're just called the Martians. The Martians on Sesame Street. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Go look him up. It helps. It helps understand. Oh dear. This guy. What is his hair? Why does his hair look like it was like strung on? It literally looks like someone came and glued string to his face.
He just has unfortunate.
Tell me those are not reminiscent of what you drew in that last portrait.
Well, but they don't have noses.
Does your guy have a nose, or is it just like a cannonball wound through his face?
That's his nose.
I'm convinced it's just like a hole that goes all the way through his face where his nose should have been.
This guy has patchy hair.
This guy has an octopus attacking his face. Like a furry octopus has latched on where his hair should have been, and he just lived with it from that day on.
Yeah, he just has like patchy.
This guy has like some weird form of hair leprosy. But he's still like, I would be sad for this person if I saw them. I'd be like, you need to just shave. The person next to him has no hope of fixing whatever's wrong with them. If this is this king's lineage, then something awful has happened.
So now it's time for the guy. The
Okay,
current.
let's hope he looks more like his great grandfather, or even his great grandfather. But his grandfather and dad, like, there's something wrong. His grandfather has just some horrifying, like, genetic nose problem, and his dad just needs a good. Oh, oh no! 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 Oh, what is that? No! It's so gross. It's like an old hag took over the throne. Someone's like, that's a witch. They're like, no, it's our king. It's like, I don't really think you should take a look closer. What is that? His nose is like an ugly anteater.
He got a new crown. It's worse.
Just a square? Oh my gosh. I've heard of people getting like nose jobs because they're like not happy with their nose. This guy needs someone just to like wallop off the nose. He'd look better noseless. Why is his back so straight? He's like like his back and the back of his head is like a 90-degree angle. It's creepy how close he can sit in his chair. Oh, his feet. This thing has come from, like... What you should really draw is, like, right down the middle. There's, like, 2 portraits on the right, 2 portraits on the left. You should be like, and this is when the aliens invaded and took over. And tried to assimilate and tried to pretend like they were humans. But over time, they just gave up trying. You know? Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like, it's horrifying, Benj. Say something about this man to help him. Do you have anything? Any words of... Oh, dear. He's inherited his grandfather's patchy hair, his father's patchy hair. You know, in every pirate movie, when you see the one pirate on the ship and you're like, how did that pirate get a job on this ship? Because he's like the worst, scraggly looking... He's like the guy in Pirates of the Caribbean whose eye keeps popping out. You're like, who keeps that guy employed? That's this. He has like a Elvis hair.
I think he's great.
My ranting for 5 minutes about how gross he is, and you think he's great?
Yeah, look at him. He's, like, I mean, you can see how they're all related. You could see how this guy eventually turned into this
I
guy.
think just because they're black and white doesn't mean they're all as.
Like, you know, they got some facial features that
I mean, they have eyes.
slowly went over time.
The one in the last portrait you draw is like his eyes are like in a cartoon when somebody sees a beautiful woman, like they're popping out of his head a little bit.
Yeah.
The current king reminds me of someone who's like been thrown in jail for their entire life and then let out, and they're just like happy to be free. Oh my gosh, he's, you know, somewhere out there, since the royal family is watching, they're like, there's a portrait down the hall that looks just like each of these people. But tell me the aliens didn't start taking over halfway through this, like, those portraits. You know, it's like an alien who doesn't quite know how to be human. They're like, well, what if we give him a nose that's bigger than half his face? Well, this is how humans grow hair, right? And then this new one just, like, gave up. He's wearing his socks. I'm guessing those are socks he's wearing, sitting in his throne. He's like an unnaturally straight back.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say you nailed is, if these are British kings, his teeth. On point. His father clearly didn't have teeth.
No, he lost them.
Yeah, it's probably whatever horrible accident.
This guy inherited some teeth from his grandfather.
Probably the octopus accident he was in. Octopus are notorious for stealing people's teeth. It's real rough.
That is the main thing we know about them.
It's the main reason I won't go scuba diving ever, is because I enjoy solid foods.
Yep. That's why.
I'll give you this, though. The new king looks happy.
They're all happy. I mean, maybe not this guy.
I can't tell what expression is on the third portrait's face.
But this one, he's smiling. Look at that wide smile.
His mouth is wider than it should be.
What? No.
I can't get over...
Comparatively,
I can't get over
to
thinking...
the nose is pretty decent.
I still can't get over thinking that he's one of the Martians from Sesame Street, or he's literally, like, we're looking at, like, a donut with eyes. Like a hairy donut with a mouth on the bottom and eyes on the top, and we're just looking straight through his head.
Yeah, but this is the nose.
No, it can't be. It looks like a hole. Like there was a horrible cannon-related accident. Someone shot the king in the face with a cannon, and he didn't die. It just like pushed his eyes and mouth out of the way. And no one was like, maybe this king is an alien. They're like, perfectly normal. Paints a new portrait.
New portrait.
And then from that point on, everyone's like, I know our kings look like freaks, but we can't say anything, right? This one permanently has an octopus on his head. And the new one, like, it just progressively gets worse and no one can say anything.
Well, this is what happens. Like, you get a king, and he's like good. He's good looking. He's good at everything he does. He's the best guy in the village. And then he has a son. It's just not as good.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
And then he has a son who's just not as good. And it's like, well, the firstborn son has to be like, this guy's brother is probably awesome. You know, like
like the current king's brother.
Yeah, like his younger brother is like perfect in every way, but he can't be king. He's not the firstborn.
It's like King Saul in the Bible. He was a terrible king eventually, but he was like tall and super good looking. So they're like, that's got to be king. Right?
Gotta be king.
Yeah. If there are kings that look like these other kings, they're kept like in a bunker so deep that no one is ever allowed to see them. And then when they have a son, they're like, we're putting him
frames like you did.
Oh, great, because my frames were such a joy to behold.
I was gonna not, but
you ever seen Princess Diaries? You know how like they take her and they're like, you need to look better as a princess. Somewhat like this kingdom needed that. There's really no hope for some of these kings. But they needed someone who's like, you need to be seen in public. You need to at least put shoes on and shave your 5 o'clock shadow. And see that tooth that's been popping out of your head since you were a teenager? We need to like push it back in or pull it out. But no, they just let him go. Even when he's like, can we cut the triangles off the top of my crown? They let him.
Yeah.
Like he hurt himself, I imagine, like getting dressed one day.
They made him take off the parts
for his own safety.
He like stepped on the crown.
Maybe that's it. Maybe his foot's bandaged, and that's why he can't wear a shoe. My favorite one is the one with an octopus on his face, though. Like, that guy. I can respect that. Yeah, those frames made it so much better. But again, they're at least authentic medieval frames.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't use straight wood.
Rugged.
Yeah, they used curvy wood. The female wood of the tree.
This guy's just looking at one of the frames. That's why his pupils are sticking out.
I don't want to talk about his eyes anymore. I don't want to look at this anymore either. This makes me sad for this kingdom. This kingdom is like, you know how there's people who are like, oh, every your country's going down the toilet. So you had this kingdom, you'd be like, yes, I can't argue. Everything's gotten worse. Remember the days of King George the Handsome over there? Like, that was his given name. And then there was like, and his son, King Philip the slightly less handsome. And then there was King Cannonball Wound. And his Majesty, King Trident and Octopus Pal. Like that's how he's introduced. He introduced the octopus that permanently lives on his face. And then he's like, and King Billy Joe Bob, the toothless. Like, come on. They're like, yeah, you're right. I do see, just in the names of our kings, there's a big progression, like a degradation of the royal line.
I think we should let our audience go.
You're free. You're free. Run away.
We won't hold you captive anymore. You don't have to look at this any longer.
Tell your friends. Subscribe. Subscribe to this. You want to. We promise we're never going to get any better. This is just further proof.
You're just like quoting our end.
We're never going to get any better. But we will keep drawing.
Bye.
Now they get to go hear that again. It's going to be great. As always, we're surprised you made it this far into our video.
There's no way we could possibly ask you to subscribe to this atrocity, so we won't.
We would say share it with your friends, but it's probably better for wasting your enemy's time.
We're probably not going to get any better, but we will keep drawing.
See you next time.